Tell him about the time we faced them.
All right. Well, as I remember.
At Avenger headquarters.
Because united, the Avengers are strong.
Welcome to the MCU D&T Plus podcast with myself, Andy Stead.
And I'm Jarian Gibson.
And I'm Alex Stroud.
And we have got the pleasure this week of having a very special guest with us. We've got Tom Duke from Stepping Through Film. How you doing, Tom?
Hi there. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
You're
good.
very
Excited
welcome.
to be here.
Excellent. No, good. We're going to get stuck into chatting to you very, very shortly and just discovering what you're all about. It's nice to see if anybody's watching rather than listening. Alex is showing off his lovely new Funkos.
Love that new Killmonger, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to get
Killmonger Funko.
Go on, let's go. I was going to give a close up of that later, but let's have a close up for anybody that's watching. Let's have a little close up of him. Look, he's great. I love that.
He's absolutely fantastic.
He is beautiful, isn't he? Yeah, he is beautiful. I bought myself I'm trying to blame it on my wife. But the dino pool. So Deadpool as a dinosaur. So I bought him yesterday. There's a guy that's local to me. He sets up a stall in the market. Literally, I could almost throw a stone at the stall from my house, and he sets up there. And I went down there I was supporting local business.
Yeah, well, I mean, it means you can make more than one trip too. So you can go there, get some, come back, go get more. You know.
Do you know what? I probably could. Yeah, I probably could. Go on my bike with me in my bag and then come back. Anyway. So, like I said, we've got Tom from Stepping Through Film. So, we first, I, and I think probably Jari and Alex as well, were first kind of introduced to your work, Tom. Somebody shared an image of a hand holding a picture in front of a scene to do with Marvel, and it's on our Facebook group, and everyone was, oh, that's really cool, you know. And there was a bit of speculation. It was, oh, is that real? Has that been photoshopped, or you know, what's this all about? And I was like, oh, I'm going to do some digging because I liked the idea. So I got onto your page and then started following your stuff. And I mean, we're all quite sort of filmy, aren't we, guys? We're all sort of bit film nerds, and we love all that kind of stuff. And I studied art at university, and my last year was very film based. So I'm a big film fan, and I just instantly started loving what you was doing. So you're on. We reached out, we chatted, and now you're here. And I'd love to hear more about you and your journey. So go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. No, yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm a massive film person as well. That's why I started it all, I guess. I just love exploring and visiting my favorite locations and stuff. That's kind of the heart of it, I suppose. And then obviously with Marvel's such an interesting one to explore because, like, you know, are they sets? Are they real? Are they green screens? So that's kind of, that's why I always love exploring Marvel productions because they have so much to them, as I'm sure, you know, we all know, you know.
Yeah.
But there's so many random little locations that you might not kind of know about, and it's just interesting, I guess.
Mm. How far afield have you gone on your journeys?
I guess everywhere really. Still lots of places I'd love to get to, but like the New York City for the Avengers was a main one that I really wanted to get to, and like that was great. That was good. That was great. Even though a lot of that was obviously kind of not real, they still mapped up like the real spots. So I managed to line stuff up like at Grand Central and Park Avenue and stuff. So that was cool.
Nice. So go on. And you said about some locations that you'd like to get to. Give us one that you would like to get to that you haven't.
Oh, I don't know. Iceland is the main one. Like, there's so many in Iceland. Amazing place. I mean, so many films there. I guess with Marvel, what is there with Marvel? I don't know. I mean, it's strange how much is in the UK for Marvel, actually. But I guess Iceland is probably the main place. New Zealand as well, obviously, for like Lord of the Rings and everything. It's just endless.
I quite like. I've seen more recently on your page. The ones where you've managed to line up a landscape. Now I get it when it's a building because obviously you've got angles and you've got very specific buildings. You know, a building is very locatable, isn't it? You know, it's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
that
definitely.
building, that's where it is.
Mhm.
But I've seen ones where you've got a landscape and you've got like the trees in the right place. And my next question to you is, have you ever had to edit the photograph?
No, never edit anything.
Wow.
Because I guess like I kind of takes the fun out of it to edit it. All I do is, make it a bit brighter sometimes if it's rubbish lighting, or, add tiny bit of color just to brighten it up a bit. That's the only editing that goes into it. Otherwise, the fun is kind of trying to line up every tree and every kind of landscape and everything.
So how did you get into it all then? Now that we sort of know roughly what it is that you do, like how did it all start?
I guess I'd always loved movies, loved traveling, and I guess it started when I was probably like 10 or 11, but I didn't use social media back then. So I kind of went to film premieres and in London, and after all those premieres, I'd visit the locations like in London, if that makes sense. So like I'd go meet. My first premiere was actually Iron Man 3, to meet Robert Downey Jr. So like I tried to go meet him as a fan and stuff. And then, afterwards I'd go to like a James Bond location in Trafalgar Square, or like Whitehall, and there's just so many in central London. So then after that, it was just a case of expanding it, I guess. And yeah.
Nice. And it's obviously taken you not necessarily all over the world, but certainly to sort of interesting destinations. So you said New York. Where else is somewhere else that you've enjoyed being?
Another, I guess, Marvel related one is Monaco, actually, for the Iron Man 2 Grand Prix, the Grand Prix scene.
Yep.
I think. Which was like, I love that scene. It's so cool, isn't it?
The suitcase. The suitcase.
Yeah, the suitcase scene.
Yeah.
He's
I
still
one
for
of the
me,
best.
Yes.
Still for me, one of the best suit ups. The suitcase is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, love that part. Okay, wicked. So that was Monaco was a good one. And just going back to what you were saying about London, and I guess so. Hold on, let me just get me geography right. Joe, you're in Kansas, aren't you?
Yes, Kansas City.
Near Kansas.
Yeah.
So Alex, where are you?
So I'm in North Carolina on the East Coast, and
Right. Okay. So quite away from New York still.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, I guess, Tom, by what you was just saying, you're close to London.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Sorry?
So you're close to London. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the kind of Hertfordshire. Stansted Airport is the best reference. Stansted Airport.
Very, very, very close to me. Very close to me. I'm on the east side of London. So
okay.
But anyway, point is that so I guess London is a little bit like New York in a way. So you can go to London. We walk around London, me and my kids and my wife. We walk around London, and it's like, oh look, that's the scene from that's where he went in Mission Impossible, and that's where James Bond was, and that's where Harry Potter was, and that's where so you're constantly walking around going, look at this, and then you find so one of my kids' favorite ones to point out every single time is in Mission Impossible. The one with Henry Cavill, was that the latest one? That was the latest one, wasn't it? Yeah. And he runs across, it's Blackfriars Bridge. He runs across Blackfriars Bridge, and then he comes to the Tate. So the Tate is an art gallery, guys, on the Thames, yeah. And he goes to a door around the side, and then he goes up I think it's a flight of stairs to the top of the Tate. And the Tate's like it was like an old factory, and there's like a chimney at the top, right? And there was a helicopter on the top waiting to pick him up. And my kids always are, let's go and see if we can find that door. And they go around the side, and that door doesn't exist. There's no door there. And they always point it out now every single time. They're like, there's no door there. And we're like, yeah, we know, but he went through that door. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But they love pointing it out.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I hadn't done that scene yet, but I didn't know that the door isn't there. So I have to. Yeah,
there is no door there where he runs. But yeah, that's really cool. That's one of my kids' favorite things to point out. So Tom, we've heard a little bit about what you do. We've heard a little bit about how it all sort of started from you. Something I'd like to broach on, something I've seen on your Facebook page, which you'll get a chance to promote in a little while. You've been lucky enough to interview a couple of people from the Shang-Chi movie, haven't you?
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how much you can say because of. I mean, we've chatted to a couple of people, and they've, they're very careful about what they're allowed to talk about and what they're not, etc., etc. But how did that all come about, and how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so it was a really cool experience, obviously, and to be asked to do it was quite kind of random and it was a bit of a surprise. But it only came about from marketing agencies often, get in touch about opportunities and just about what upcoming movies are coming up and stuff. And they obviously asked quite a few people to be involved with the whole Shang-Chi, press junket. And so I was just a lucky person, I guess. And that was it, basically. It was a very stressful experience. I mean, I've never done a junket before. And it was like really, really quick. The messages are popping up on the screen saying you have 1 minute left, like wrap it up and stuff. And I'm just like, okay. So it's like really stressful, but obviously it's a great experience. And I love that I have those videos there now to kind of have forever.
Yeah, I mean, what a great experience. So we spoke about it last week's podcast. I think it might have been you, Jaren, that shared it. Actually, that interview that Collider did with Kevin Feige.
Yes. Which one?
The one where he basically asks him a bunch of really hard questions like, when's the next Avengers movie? When are we going to see Doctor Doom? When I don't think he said that, but basically the questions that he's never ever going to answer.
Yep.
and we spoke about it last week. So he asked these really strange questions, this interviewer from Collider, and it made me think, why would he ask those questions? Like, he knows that he's not going to answer those questions. Like, he's just going to flirt around them. Of course he's not going to turn around and go, well, Avengers 5 is going to come out on, he's not going to do that. So were they again, and obviously you can say what you're allowed to say, were your questions or were they questions that were kind of pre-approved, or added that
question?
They were all my questions, actually. It was my first ever junket, so I was just trying to think of the best questions to ask. Those just simple questions to get through it. I didn't even think about asking controversial ones or like trying to dig for answers or anything. I was just asking about the film, I guess. But I get why people do that, like in Collider, because you want to try and get the first scoop and stuff. But no, it was all just me as a fan trying to make the interview work. Really.
Well,
and they were great. They were both great.
Right. Okay. That was gonna be my next question, actually. Like, so were they really receptive to you and
definitely they were both wonderful. Both probably they know what they're doing. They know they had great answers. They were really they were lovely.
Yeah, like you say, they know what they're doing. They do it for a living.
They probably did 100 in the day, but yeah.
The only I can think of about the Collider interview is that the interviewer was trying to see if he could get Feige to slip up and accidentally say something. Is the only I can think of.
You know what? He asked him so many questions that he could have slipped up on that. So it's kind of like maybe he was trying to do that. Like, if I just keep ramming these really controversial, like digging questions down his throat, maybe one of them he'll just make a mistake and I can go, got you. but I think Feige's probably a little bit cleverer than that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be a great poker player. I mean, the way that he handles these things, like, honestly.
Yeah, or a politician. I think he made a really good politician.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm neither going to confirm nor deny.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tom, something actually, before we go on, I'm going to ask you something we ask our guests that we bring on. But I don't know if Jarian or Alex have got any questions for you before I ask him. I'm going to ask him about what he likes about the MCU, etc. So, but I don't know if you guys have got anything that you want to ask, Tom.
I don't have any questions to ask, but just keep doing what you've been doing. I like some of your shots. I've seen some like the Spider-Man ones or the Thor ones you've done. Like when I think it was at the Jubilee line, I think it was with Thor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the Into Spider-Verse one as well. So seeing the animation come into real life type of thing. So I just I'm just a fan. Keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, same here. I'm a fan as well. I love that kind of stuff. I love fan artwork. I appreciate shots. I love, everything, like all the outside, the background artwork, like the scenes, the landscapes, everything. So, it's very unique and awesome. So
Wicked.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So kind.
Yeah.
So, Tom, something we ask all of our guests that come on. We want to know something you think that the MCU, or no, sorry, not the MCU, Marvel Studios, something that you think Marvel Studios does really well in their films and in their projects, and something you think that they could improve on, or something that you think that you sort of think, actually, I didn't like that, even if it's one thing. We had one of our members on our Facebook page put up which I was going to mention, Room 101. What would you ditch into Room 101? I'm not going to ask. Oh, no, I will, because you don't know, and I will get you Jarian to tell you what his Room 101 is. But mine is Thor's blonde eyebrows from 401.
Okay.
Why did they do that?
Yeah.
But you get my point. So, what's something that you think was awesome? Something you really love about Marvel Studios? Something you think they do really well, and then something that you think, do you know what? I'd like to sort of change that, or I don't really want to see any more of it.
So much to think about. There's so much I love. I guess I adore. It's hard to think of like tiny things right now. I can't think of many, but like I love my favorite. I think my favorite film is actually Doctor Strange in the MCU, and I just love the mystical and magical elements that they're bringing in right now. Like I think I love that aspect most out of the MCU. And how they're slowly merging that into, No Way Home and the sequel to Doctor Strange. And like, I love that part of it all. I think that's kind of so fun, especially linked with Loki on Disney Plus. Like, I love all of that. I guess what I think one thing that always annoys me a bit is kind of maybe the cinematography sometimes, or the visuals. I guess I think sometimes the colors are a bit toned down. But that's nitpicking.
That's the artist.
I don't know.
That's the artist coming out in you, Tom.
Yeah, no, like it's all amazing and I love it, but sometimes it feels a bit like I don't know. I love it all. I don't want to say anything bad about it.
It's hard. It's hard, though, isn't it? When you put on the spot. When you put on the spot like that, it's hard. But what you tend to find is, I mean, I think that was a great answer. I mean, you don't often hear that, do you? That's Doctor Strange. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not saying that. And, each their own. But that's really interesting. And then, something comes out and it's like, Doctor Strange is your favorite movie. Nice. Like, we don't usually hear that. And then you can bring a whole side to it. But it's usually something that's sitting quite deep because it's always there. If you have to think about something too much, you can't really think about it. So I'll let Jarian tell you what he wants to put in Room 101. Go on, Jarian.
Here we go.
Get it out.
So the one thing I would completely redo and not use at all is Taskmaster and Black Widow. I felt that they should not have used Taskmaster. Didn't fit the story. They should have used Iron Maiden 2.0 with a tie to Melania, or they should have used Red Widow with ties to Black Widows and that kind of stuff. So that's mine.
He just needs to get it off his chest regularly, otherwise he'll pop.
I wasn't going to go there. You forced my hand. No, I was kidding.
I wanted to. Look, mate, it's good to get it off your chest every now and again. All right. Okay. And while we're there, Alex, you got anything that you'd chuck into Room 101? Something that you'd abandon in the MCU?
Probably in Thor: The Dark World, the Jane Foster becoming the host for the Reality Stone. I'd probably kick that one. I think that was kind of unneeded. It seemed like a plot device, to like move forward, but at the same time, like, I mean, they could totally be like, oh, in the comics, she gets cancer and all that. So I'm like, maybe that gives her cancer in the MCU. Like, you never know. Like, I don't know.
Do you know what? That's a really good shout. Why have I never heard that before? That is 100% where they're going with that in Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Have you? Is that the first time you've ever said that out loud?
I've said it to like a couple of people, but like it's one
before. Yeah.
It's like one of those things where it's like I don't know if that's like too dark for them to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, we all know like the Infinity Stones are hard for most people to just grasp, and one possessed her for an extended amount of time. So you never know.
That is Great idea. Sorry, Joanne, go on.
No, I'll say it'd be a shame if they don't use that to have that continuity from the Dark World into Love and Thunder.
I think there's got to be some continuity. We haven't seen her, have we?
Nope.
I think the most we had was that she was safe or something. Didn't they say that in Infinity War? I'm sure they said something
Yep.
about it. in
Something
Infinity
like
War,
that.
Yeah,
She was
And-
safe
and-
in Avengers, a safe in Infinity War. She was off doing something, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see that. But that is a brilliant shout. That is a really good shout, actually. So actually, one more thing, Tom, before we go, just talking about locations, and Alex has reminded me about For the Dark World. So I'm in Essex, Tom.
Okay.
Just near Southend-on-Sea, so down the sort of southeast of Essex. So it's very rare that my area gets on film in anything. However, in For the Dark World, right?
Yeah.
When they're drawing the lines, do you remember when they get the map out and they're drawing the lines to try and find where the convergence is happening?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
They go straight, the line goes straight through, and my little town has got a little.
Oh,
So you can see it on the map, and I'm like, there it is. I
That's
pause
awesome.
it. I pause it and show it to people. I'm like,
That's
there it is.
awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool little link. It was, I show it to my boys, and I'm like, look at that. That's where we live. That's about as good as it gets. So nobody's going to come and film here.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, wicked, Tom. That's really nice to hear all that sort of stuff. So, my last question for you is going to be, where does it go next?
I have no idea. I guess I'm just continuing really. There's always something new to find, always a new location to find. I'm excited. A lot of Marvel Disney Plus shows are filming in the UK, upcoming ones, which I'm excited about.
Yes.
So I'm kind of and Eternals. Yeah, Eternals. There's quite a few in London. So I'm kind of just looking for the next show, next movie to do, and hope some fun opportunities come up, I guess.
Nice.
I think
Nice.
Marvels is filming there as well, or it has some shots there. The Marvels.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and
Yes.
I think and I mean Doctor Strange 2 is I think quite heavily based here as well. So
And I don't know whether they're using any of the locations, but obviously Ant-Man 3 is being filmed at Pinewood.
I see.
Right now.
Never know.
But I did see something that they were going to be filming. Where were they filming? In some basin somewhere where it looked a little bit like it wasn't.
In Arizona. It was in Arizona, the article I posted
Right.
about that, where I think it might be used the basis of the quantum realm or some location inside the quantum realm or in outer space.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I just generally on locations, really. I love how they don't shy away from using, these sort of more obscure locations in the MCU, and they're very much everything's very considered, isn't it? I mean, I guess it all is. I guess all movies are the same. Everything's very considered with locations. But I think what a fantastic job that A must be, and B that they do finding these locations. So, for example, Tom, like Durham Cathedral for Asgard. That's I mean, I've never been. Obviously, you have. Is it as impressive? Is it Asgard?
When at Dome Cathedral itself, when you go in, it does feel like you're in Asgard. Like if you're in one section and you look up, like it's so huge and it kind of looks like the columns in Asgard. So I guess I can see why they chose it. Also, obviously, it works as Hogwarts as well, which is what they used it for.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, for the first few films, I think. So yeah, it definitely looks the part, but they only put a bit of they put a green screen or blue screen at one end, but most of it was all really real, which is quite cool. It's all just shot as it is.
Nice. On that note, so you were saying about Durham Cathedral being used as Hogwarts and obviously being used as Asgard, which is quite unique. I guess that's probably the best one. But are there any other locations that you've found that are doubled up, like in that kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, all the time actually. There's actually in Surrey, the Bournewoods. Do you know the Bournewoods, Farnham, Surrey way?
Yes, I kind of know where you mean. Yeah.
Like that's the opening of Age of Ultron in the forest.
Oh, right.
the
Yeah.
forest battle. That was all there.
Ah.
And like one other woods, and then they used that for Gladiator, Transformers, Wonder Woman, Thor: The Dark World as well. The opening of Thor: The Dark World, same place as the opening of Age of Ultron.
Oh.
Like that's been used a lot. So yeah, it's weird
So,
how much they reused it.
so when you go to places like that, do you normally try and get multiple like shots, of various things, like if you all the movies, like you do it all at once, or you know?
Yeah, I try to. Otherwise, I'm kind of spending so much money going backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But I try to get as much as I can, and then kind of use it whenever it's relevant, really.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just try and maximize the trips.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. That's a really interesting fact. So every now and again, I say every now and again, we've done, how many quizzes have we done now?
3, 4.
Four, I think. Yeah, we've done 4. We do a quiz. We do a Zoom quiz. So we get we can't have all the members of our group. We've got like 42,000 members, but we have like sort of 20 members or so of our Facebook group. We've got some regulars that have done everyone, and we come on and we do a Zoom quiz. And we most of the questions they're always about what happens in the movie, but we're on phase 3 now, because we've done phase 1, we've done phase 2, we're on to phase 3, and it's like we're almost like running out of subjects to do a quiz about. So me and the Barbara, the other lady who kind of do the questions, we were sort of chatting and trying to throw ideas about, and I was saying, maybe ideas about like the actors that have been in it, and the writers and the directors and the locations and things like that. So that's a really interesting fact.
Yeah.
That the opening scene of Age of Ultron,
yep,
and For the Dark World. And is there any others?
I don't know. The ending of Black Widow is filmed also like a few miles from there.
Okay, right.
Wow.
But I think the forest. I think Surrey there's a lot in Surrey. Then a few miles is another Harry Potter bit. Then Kingsman, the church from Kingsman. Then it's quite weird, but it's just it's amazing what's here. Yeah.
Is it for Black Widow? Was it the final battle ending, or the ending where she's with the Quinjet talking to Mason?
It's the big final battle with Taskmaster.
Yeah.
But that ending also with I think that's probably Surrey as well. It looks quite similar. I think it's probably the same area. Yeah.
That's incredible, because like as a movie fan and as a British person, I kind of sit there and think, oh no, nothing's filmed over here. And like it's all in America, but it's not, is it? There's so much. Like, I never even thought of that. Guardians of the Galaxy, when Yondu's ship crashes and he does the whistle and it kills. That was in Watford? That was
that was somewhere around here. Yeah, that was also like in one of the fields somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's
really weird.
Yeah, but so and actually Guardians of the Galaxy as well. That was another one. That was on the Millennium Bridge, wasn't it? Across.
That was there. They used, I think, that the hospital in the opening scene. That was somewhere in Hertfordshire or something as well.
Again, amazing. You don't really think about it, do you?
Man, nothing is filmed here.
You're quite barren over there, don't it? I bet there is. I bet Tom could find something that's filmed over there, mate.
The biggest thing that I've been close to is that my high school was used for a movie. So the movie Election with Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon, I think, that was filmed at my high school, and that's about it. In Nebraska.
Okay, well.
So as good as it gets.
One of the biggest things filmed here was they actually filmed Iron Man 3 here. Like they did some stuff here. And like the cranes at the port, it's completely restricted area, but you can see them, but it's like really far away, but you can't get close enough to like line up any shots or anything like that, figure it all out. But then they also, like downtown here, they also did the scene in Air Force One where Iron Man saves like the 13 people.
Wow.
They filmed that scene in the river down here. So
cool.
I tried to go out there not too long ago and like get some shots to kind of make them look similar, but I couldn't because they built a building there now and like all that's kind of like blocking it. But yeah, it's definitely cool though.
There's a good question. Have you ever found that, Tom? Have you ever sort of gone, I want to go and get that scene? And then you go somewhere and then they've knocked the building down, or they've built a building in place. Something's changed about the scene. You're like, wasted trip.
Yeah, that's happened a lot, and it's really depressing when I've traveled all that way and then it's just not there. But I think the ending of Age of Ultron, another Age of Ultron one, the big battle in Sokovia, that was all London as well. They filmed it like on it was like an old police headquarters, HQ. They've changed it all now, so it doesn't quite look like it, but they kind of added a few visual effects and made it look a bit
Nice.
bigger.
Wow.
But that's where like Scarlet Witch is, doing all her stuff and everything. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome. There's another one. Sorry, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stop in a minute and we'll move on. I swear. But the beginning or the beginning of First Avenger was filmed in Manchester, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
when Steve, that was Manchester was Brooklyn.
Oh, nice.
I remember.
Yeah,
Go on, Tom.
Sorry, the First Avenger. Yeah, that's another mainly UK-based production, and when Steve jumps on the grenade.
Yes.
That was also the Bourne Woods, the opening of Age of Ultron.
The same woods.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just on like another section. They have this massive these massive areas of just grass where it's great for trailers and kind of camera equipment and everything. And then like the paths lead to kind of the forest, so it's all quite easy to set up different things. So I guess that's why they use it.
Oh, wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. I remember reading about just changing the subject away from Marvel. God, God forbid. Like the highway that they built for the Matrix sequel in Australia. They built that highway, didn't they? That where they done the car chase scene. They built that, and it was like a 25-mile stretch of highway that they built apparently in Australia or New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's literally they built it for that movie. I always found,
Cool.
I always thought that was quite incredible.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good. We've chatted to you enough there, Tom.
Thank you.
But no. Do you know what? That's really interesting finding out all that stuff, and this is great stuff. Because we kind of sit here and nerd off about Marvel and about how it's like the comics, and we collect Funkos or wear T-shirts or build Legos. Jaren's like Lego obsessed.
Me too.
Do you know what I mean? But we do all that stuff. But actually, finding out a little bit more about the behind the scenes stuff is really cool. Especially when it comes from a place of real sort of passion. You can tell that you're quite, very passionate about it and that you really enjoy doing it. You're not, it's almost like it's not for work. It's not someone's forcing you to do it. You're not sort of doing it because you're going, oh, there's the next paycheck, so I'm going to go and do this thing. You're like, actually, I do this because I love doing it. And that's kind of why we're here. We're here, us three, because we love talking about Marvel. So it's great to have somebody on who also loves Marvel, but just loves what they do,
Yeah, no, I love that. We're all just fans. We all love it. That's it.
Exactly. All right, then. So don't go anywhere, Tom, because you can join in on the rest of our chat.
Of course.
Couple of news bits, Jaren. So we're going to explore a couple of news bits. One of them's I wouldn't necessarily say controversial, but it could go on. I'll let you explain.
So the two news bits for this week that we're going to discuss, and I will get the separate news out once I get a background from somebody. Hint,
Oh,
hint.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
But anyway, it's all good. So Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Tom Hardy is shown wearing a Spider-Man No Way Home production hat. Possible hints to future crossover. And then furthermore, Andy Serkis in the past has said that Venom will, come into the MCU or cross over with the MCU. And remember before, that was shot down by Feige or somebody else a while back. But then after the premiere here recently, Andy's been doing some more interviews, and he has no doubt Spider-Man will face the symbiote in a future project. Look, that's the question on everyone's lips. They want to know if Venom is going to meet Spider-Man, but personally, it's never going to happen. I'm only joking, of course. It's going to happen. But I think there's so much. Look, it depends when you want to get there and also what the appetite is. If people want more Venom stories, then to jump straight to Spider-Man, you'll be missing out on so many great supervillain characters in between now and then. So in a way, by rushing it, you might be closing the door. Now, that's interesting because there's a lot of talk about the post-credit scene of Let There Be Carnage. I'm not going to discuss it because I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true, and I don't want to potentially say anything about spoilers. But Sony has been basically marketing, make sure you stay for the end credits. So something big is going to be in the end credits of Venom Let There Be Carnage.
I think something you said on our little chat when we was deciding what sort of news things, you used a really nice word, and I'm going to use it in the show notes because you're absolutely right. It's breadcrumbs.
Yes.
And it's just, there's little breadcrumbs being dropped all over the place by different people from different places of like, look, this is going to happen.
Yep.
Like when, like, you know, we're not telling you that yet, but this is going to happen. And so one of my problems with it, I want it to happen, don't get me wrong, but I think Venom's not bad enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happens when him and Spider-Man face? Who are you going to want to win?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like at the moment, who would you want to win? Like I think there would be people that would genuinely be torn. And we spoke about it last week, didn't we? About the hero. You know, you just want to see the hero win. I mean, I get that. That's not everybody all the time. I understand that, but generally speaking, you want to see sort of good prevail over evil, don't you? And I'm sort of looking at this, and I'm going, especially after Let There Be Carnage. I mean, I'm guessing that once again, Venom is going to be the out and out sort of hero. Yeah, okay, he might want to eat people, but he's still going to be the hero. And then if we all of a sudden get a Spider-Man in there, a lot of people are going to be rooting for Venom to win.
So, but who says though we're going to get Spider-Man versus Venom? You know, maybe Venom the symbiote goes over to Peter Parker. Maybe they're a team up. You know, like where they have with agents of what it's called. You know, they've done agents. You know, where he's been a Shield asset, and they've been on the same team, and Spider-Man runs the team. And maybe it's hinting towards, you know, maybe they team up against the Sinister Six. So
yeah, Agent Venom, isn't it? Is that,
yes, Agent Venom. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I would like to see that sort of really evil version of Venom, though. The sort of version that wants to, you know,
cuts loose.
Yeah.
But then is that the same as in a way as the Hulk argument? You know.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, he could almost like be the villain of his own movie. Like you could totally have Spider-Man like just basically like meet him and be like, oh, you just ate somebody. Like I can't let that happen. and you know, them kind of move forward with that. But yeah.
I like that idea actually, like him being the villain of his own movie. I mean that on the face, I'm trying to work it out. My mind's just sort of blown up there. Because obviously, you don't usually get that, do you? You don't. So the protagonist that you've got the villain. That's who the movie is about, right? And you've got the hero, but would the hero still win? So then,
it'd probably be like one of those things where they kind of find some cohesion there at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of how they do like through various forms of media and comics and stuff like that. Like they kind of like go against each other, and then all of a sudden they're kind of on the same page. And at some points in time, you know what I'm saying? Like Venom and Spider-Man. So
find a
when
common
it's beneficial. Yeah, exactly.
Or it could be like What If episode this week, which we'll talk about shortly. You know, it could be along those lines.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. Really, actually, that'd be good.
Any thoughts, Thomas, on that news?
I mean, I think it's crazy that we've got a picture of Tom Hardy in the No Way Home hat. I mean, they're not keeping it very, very wrapped up. I think they kind of almost did the whole villain hero thing even in the first Venom, didn't they? Kind of Venom as a character is almost like that, isn't it? Like the good guy, bad guy fighting against himself with Tom Hardy and the symbiote. It's interesting to see what will happen, really. He'll probably, who knows, he could be like the villain of Spider-Man. If they did like a fourth Spider-Man movie or Venom 3, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, do you know what would be really cool? Do you remember? I don't know. They probably still do. And I guess this is what the MCU is doing in a way, I guess. But if they really did it like very, very closely knit. But do you remember you used to get those books where like you read the book and you're reading it, it's the same story and you're reading it from one perspective, and then you get another book and you're reading again the same story from another perspective. Wouldn't it be cool if you had Venom 3 and then Spider-Man 4, and it was like you had the movie, Spider-Man was the hero in the Spider-Man movie, and then when you watched the Venom movie, Venom was the hero in the Venom movie, but it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that'd be pretty cool.
Do you know what I mean? And then you'd actually, so when you watch the Venom movie, Spider-Man's the baddie. You want Spider-Man to lose. But then when you watch the Spider-Man movie, Venom's the baddie because you're just seeing it through the hero's eyes or through that protagonist's eyes. A little bit like Cobra Kai.
Yes.
Yeah. So like we've all seen Cobra Kai. We all hated Johnny in Karate Kid. Like he was horrible, but then when you actually, there was a great moment. I think it was I can't remember if it was in season 1 or 2. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but he explains like what happens. Like he explained what happened back in like the 80s. And he goes, yeah, so this new kid come on, like he broke my radio, stole my girlfriend, punched me in the face. Then he got a karate master to beat us all up. And then he sprayed water on me while I was trying to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah. Actually, when you look at it like that, like Daniel was the bully in that respect. Like in Johnny's story, from Johnny's perspective, Daniel was the bully. But actually, from Daniel's perspective, which is what we watched the Karate Kid from, Daniel is the hero as such, and Johnny is the bully.
Bad guy. Yep.
Yeah. So it's almost like you could play that same kind of dynamic. I actually want to make that movie now.
Marvel and Sony would have to really kind of meld together with creativity though with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's it's still tentative, isn't it, their relationship?
Yeah.
But, I'm still waiting for the movies to come out on Disney Plus. I thought they were supposed to be coming to Disney Plus.
Is it 2022? I thought that started.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I thought that started in 2022. I thought double check that one. But who knows? There's always that rumor of Marvel buying all the rights back or buying Sony Studios. So
just buying Sony.
Yeah. So
so Tom, I don't know whether you know this or not. I mean, you've probably got a good idea that Marvel earn a lot of Disney earn a lot of money out of Disney Plus, but we kind of worked it out. They've got 116 million subscribers, so each of them pays $7 a month, and it works out as something like $665 million a month. that they earn.
That's crazy.
From Disney Plus, just Disney Plus.
Yeah, not merchandise, not movies, just Disney Plus subscription. That's crazy.
I mean, that is like a lot, but at the same time, they're probably putting most of that like back into the service in a way. I mean,
they said was it 150 million pound for Loki? I think I read somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
That cost 150 million pounds to make Loki, $150 million to make Loki. But yeah, I mean, it's an insane amount of money. Yeah, well, breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs.
Sorry, my allergies are going today. Sorry about that. So let's talk about Vincent D. Onofrio. I hope I'm saying this right. After the first trailer of Hawkeye, he continues to fuel speculation around his involvement, liking tweets, more subtitle type things like that. So what's going on there? But he also took to Twitter to respond. So silly to look deeper into little pieces I write. I've been writing them for years now, although I appreciate the fandom because I love playing him in Daredevil because he writes things and puts them on Twitter and puts them out there and people are like, what does this mean? How is this connected? And blah, blah, blah. But there is some news here that he, that it's been rumored he's going to appear, into Hawkeye, into Echo. But according to the Cosmic Circus, Lizzie Hill, who has been dropping some reliable scoops in the recent months, it's true. Vincent D'Onofrio is returning to his Marvel role as Wilson Fisk, although he may look a little larger than life than you remembered when you next see him. She adds that Kingpin will be large and in charge in the Hawkeye series coming to Disney Plus, and as suspected, the character will undergo a soft reboot for his proper Marvel Cinematic Universe debut. Rather than making the now canceled Marvel television projects canon, so the whole is it canon question, it sounds like those versions of the characters are being treated as variants from similar, albeit not quite the same worlds. That's the best possible approach, especially as it frees Marvel Studios from having to adhere to some of the not so great creative decisions Jeff Loeb and his team often made with the heroes and villains. So there's your canon question for those out there who like talking about this, that soft reboot means the character and the actor, but the stories are going to be gone. So it does sound like he'll be a big role in Hawkeye. I wonder how he'll be connected. There's also a lot of a lot of thought out there that Vera Farmiga's character, Kate Bishop's mother, that she's also possibly Madame Mask as well. We didn't really see as much villains, other than like the street gang, the guys in the track shoots and stuff like that, and people chasing them, kind of that Die Hard feel in the first Hawkeye trailer. But it's gonna be interesting to see if we see anything else before it comes out. But the one thing that does worry me is larger than life type thing. I hope they don't get too over dramatic with his costume and what he looks like. I thought he was perfect in the Daredevil series and Marvel series.
I did too.
On Netflix. So it could be a costume, it could be CGI. If they do make him, like Spider-Verse size Kingpin, I just hope it's done tastefully and doesn't look corny.
Yeah. There's a risk of, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, there's a risk of making it too comic booky.
Yes.
No, that sounds stupid because it's a comic book project, but it's like, actually, he was very, very real, wasn't he, in Daredevil? I mean, like, I think we spoke about it last week. Everything was very, very real about Daredevil. Like I think I said, didn't I? So I was saying, Tom, I was rewatching The Wire at the time when I started watching Daredevil on Netflix, and it was literally like they could have been down the road. Like that could have just been happening in the next city over. It was that real. That's kind of the comparison that I made. But I thought that I thought he was great. I'm just going to call him Vinny D just so I don't butcher his surname. I would love to see him in Hawkeye, and I think we spoke about it before. The Matt Fraction run on Hawkeye. Life as a Weapon, that whole run, it looks from the trailer, it looks very much like that is exactly where they're going with it. And within that run, I don't want to ruin too much, but there's a party that they have to go to for various reasons, and there's all basically rich criminals at this party, and Kingpin's there.
And they could tie in Moon Knight into that too at that party.
Yeah. I mean, we've said that before a million times before. Those kind of little drop in, like there he is, and then we'll see him again in his own show, sort of thing. But I'd really like to see Billy D in Hawkeye.
It sounds like
sorry, Tom, go on.
I'm sorry. Is it confirmed that he's in Hawkeye yet, or is that a kind of a rumor?
Marvel hasn't confirmed it, but this Lizzie Hill from Cosmic Circus, who's has some scoops, she's saying he's there.
Yeah.
A lot of steam has been picking up lately. Just the same steam. I think this is more steam than Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Coming back in No Way Home. So it sounds pretty good that he's going to be in the series.
I mean, after WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki, I don't know if it feels like he could show up, but then at the same time, they have kept it quite kind of focused on that character, haven't they, of that show? Without putting in lots of other characters in, kind of they focused on them. So I don't know. Do you think he would show up?
I think it'd be more of a minor type role, maybe an appearance, something like that. Because it sounds like any major role from him in the MCU right now will be more towards Echo because he's major in that story of Echo. So this could be his intro to the MCU, and then we'll see more of him in Echo type of thing.
Yeah, I think you might end up getting a. So again, I don't know because we don't. It's a little bit like what we were saying about this potential post-credit scene in Venom. You don't know if it's what we've heard is true or not. So it's kind of silly talking about it. And I feel the same about talking about that that Matt Fraction run. Because you don't know if that's what it's going to be based on. So I'm I don't want to say too much because maybe people want to go in blind. But there could be something that it has got to happen throughout the series, and Kingpin's behind it. He could be the person behind it. We could maybe only see him at the end. But then, having said that, is that a little bit too similar to He Who Remains in Loki? Do you know, in regards to having that one person who's behind the scenes and the main characters trying to find that one person? Is that a bit too formulaic again after doing it in Loki?
And there's also the probability that Yelena is going to be in it as well. So
you could also, I was just going to say, you could also have Val possibly at the party if they do the party scene, throw that curveball in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say
yeah.
more of, instead of the end type thing, more of like a mid part of it, some party or some flashback in the beginning, possibly at a party to kind of set things up and explain things, kind of change it up a little bit from He Remains, because Thomas made a great point there. You don't just want to cut, copy, paste type thing with the previous series. So changing that up, making it like a flashback in the beginning, making it some kind of middle type introduction, but don't do the He Remains type introduction at the end. So that's a great point, Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting actually. Having him show up and then gone. And then it's like, oh look, there he is. He is here. We'll find out a little bit more about him later, but let's keep it focused on Clint.
And speaking of Marvel shows too, Kristen Ritter has had some interviews about her role as Jessica Jones, and John Bernthal has also had some questions about his role as the Punisher, Frank Castle. So maybe there's more breadcrumbs out there that we might see in some more of those characters come over. I know from earlier reports they're looking at bringing everyone over except for Michael Coulter and Finn Jones, for that. And I wouldn't mind seeing more Michael Coulter as Luke Cage, Power Man, but Finn Jones is probably a no for me.
Yeah, me too on Finn Jones. I thought his like fight choreography was like very sloppy in that, and for somebody who's like, he literally calls himself, "I am the immortal Iron Fist. I'm like a living weapon," basically. Like he's, I don't know.
His co-star looked way better in fight scenes than he did.
Yeah.
I think we've said that for a little while about this sort of quote unquote soft reboot thing, where they was going to hopefully bring over those Netflix characters. I think I'd love to see. I wouldn't mind seeing all of them really. I'm not overly fussed, but I think those two that you've mentioned.
I like Tennant too, the guy that played the Purple Man in Jessica Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He did a great job, and he's a fantastic actor. Like the guy does a fantastic job with every role he plays.
Well, Bullseye as well. The guy who played Bullseye also.
Yeah.
So,
talking about actors, did anybody on the page the other day? Did anybody see the Daniel Craig? Who could Daniel Craig play in the MCU? Bullseye. I was like, why have I Bullseye? Why have I never thought about having Daniel Craig in the MCU before? I thought he could play a good Magneto. I'd like to see him as a villain after playing James Bond for so long.
That would be great. He could be Benoit Blanc from Knives Out coming in as a meta character, like Daredevil.
Yeah,
he could be like a middle type man. He could be the special buyer type man. Kind of extend his role from Layer Cake. Yeah. I loved him in Layer Cake.
I've said. Do you know what? Actually, I've said. I'm sure I said this a little while ago. I'd really like to see a Guy Ritchie style Marvel film.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, it just goes to show they can be a little bit more modern, because if you've seen The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey, that's really cool, and that's a little bit more like his stuff. Snatch and Lock, Stock, fantastic.
I love those films.
Love it. But they'd be good scenes as well, Tom. Have you done any of those?
What, from The Gentleman?
No, Snatch and Lock, Stock.
No, I haven't. I haven't done those, but The Gentleman's great, and obviously all the Sherlock Holmes movies I love. So, I mean, Guy Ritchie could do like a good Hawkeye movie, I guess. What would he do? I don't know. What would fit Guy Ritchie?
The obvious choice, because obviously Guy Ritchie being British, would be maybe Captain Britain, but I don't know whether that would work. Knowing what Captain Britain, the Captain Britain stories, I'm not sure that style would fit with that character.
Deadpool versus Taskmaster.
What about if they ever did a live action Captain Carter movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I really want to see. I do. The more and more I think about that, the more and more I want to see Hayley Atwell as Captain Carter in live action.
I feel like that's where it's rumored, leading, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in Multiverse of Madness, for sure. I feel like What If is almost going to live action, almost.
And that's one of the rumors. There is her showing up in Multiverse of Madness. I don't know in what capacity, but that's been a rumor for a while now.
Nice. Yeah, wicked. Two really nice pieces of news there. I think we've expanded those really well. So excellent. Okay, so let's just move on, and we'll talk about What If, as a nice little segue actually into What If. So we're going to talk about What If episode 6. What if Killmonger saved Tony Stark. I was really looking forward to this episode, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I know we spoke about it before, Joe, haven't we? Because we said, is this Marvel trying to slowly turn the cogs into us liking Killmonger so that they can play out this redemption arc in Black Panther 2 so that he can then be Black Panther? And it's like, yeah, that's definitely what they're doing. Look at the trailer. That's exactly what it looks like. And then all of a sudden, he was worse than what he was in Black Panther. Like, it was really evil, really sort of, not twisted necessarily, but just like, clinical.
As soon as I heard his music, I was like, I was so wrong. I'm happy to be wrong too, because I love a good villain story, but the trailer made me 100% think it was redemption arc. You saw him saving Tony, you saw him riding rhinos in Wakanda. I'm like, they're trying to redeem him. He's gonna be in Black Panther too, but nope. There's Marvel with a trickery, and it's a great villain story. So I was wrong, but happy to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't blink an eyelid at killing T'Challa or Rhodey, and obviously
Tony.
Tony. Well, I'm still not quite sure how Tony died with a spear through the shoulder.
That's what I thought.
In a vein, artery.
I was like, wait, is he dead? Yeah. It was just in his shoulder, and then that was it.
and he was okay, and then he died, and I was like, oh, I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, he's dead. He died in it. So, but I enjoyed it again. I've enjoyed all of them. This one felt very real. Like it felt. I wouldn't say as close to what happened as we've had, but I feel, when I was doing this thing, if anybody's not watching, I'm doing like I don't know, helix, I guess. I don't know, whatever shape that is, where they kind of, the story is so far away from what it was, and then it kind of crosses over and it's almost exactly the same. And then it goes further away again, and then it crosses over again. And it hits those points. Not necessarily the points that they mentioned in Doctor Strange. Not those points.
Or infinite points.
Absolute points.
Absolute. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not necessarily absolute points. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's very similar to what actually happened in what we've already seen. And then it gets different. It felt like there was lots of those moments. It felt like the moments that they weren't that far away from what happened. And then there was lots of moments. And even the moments that were different were still very similar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it felt very familiar, where some of the other episodes, I mean, obviously the last two episodes that we've had, the zombies and Doctor Strange, were very abstract, where this one was very real, wasn't it?
Yeah. I also like too how they showed more of Killmonger, because in the MCU so far we've seen more of his strategy, more of his wartime, more of his military type stuff. But this one also showed his smarts too. MIT building the drones, and those drones right at the bat, I said hammer drones. They did remind me of hammer drones from Iron Man 2 a little bit. So it was good to see more of Killmonger, even though he was still a villain and still went the bad route. But more of Killmonger was good for me.
He was almost a better villain in this than he was in Black Panther,
exactly.
wasn't he?
It was like he was playing. This was like a chess match, basically, for him. And he was moving the pieces because he got Obadiah out of the way first. He got Tony's trust. Then he went through. Then he got Tony out of the way. Then he got Rhodey and T'Challa out of the way. He got into Wakanda, gained their trust. So this was like a master chess player watching them play in this episode for me.
Another interesting thing I noticed was Happy Hogan appears again.
Yes.
And he makes a comment, like, oh, like when Killmonger gets promoted to be head of security or whatever for Tony Stark, he's like, oh, I was just about to get that job or whatever, so it's kind of like a nice little parallel to Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
I love what they slowly talk about. Sorry.
No, go on.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Go.
I love how they like that. They slowly, they leave breadcrumbs of what we already know in the MCU, and just kind of tease us with, what the reality is in the MCU. Like, he also said about the arc reactor, didn't he? He was like, what if we use, a miniaturized arc reactor? And he's like, nah, we won't do that. It's like, it's fun. I love what they're doing, Yeah.
Another thing too that they changed also was that Obadiah Stane was not Jeff Bridges, and Pepper Potts was not Gwyneth Paltrow. Those were new voice actors for the episode as well, so they didn't return to do the voiceover.
I thought the guy that done who did Tony's voice.
Who
Do we
I
know
can't
who it
remember, but
was?
he's the same one that's been doing it so far. He's been doing really well.
Is it because what was his name? Adrian something or other. The guy that played the Petrelli brother in Heroes. He was he voiced he played he was the Colonel in
Yes.
Agents of Shield. Colonel.
Yeah, I know
I can't
talking
remember
about.
the
Yeah,
name.
because he also voices Tony Stark in the cartoons and some of the cartoons.
Now that's my point.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my point. His name's Adrian something or other. I'm sure it is. I can't remember the guy's name now. But yeah, him. I don't know if it was him because it sounded similar. That similar voice.
It didn't. It sounded different from the cartoons. So I don't think it was him.
No, maybe
it sounded different to me. Just to me, it sounded different because he has a more pronounced voice, a little bit deeper too as well. Where I didn't think I heard that in this version of Tony Stark.
Do you think he was trying to be Robert Downey Jr.?
Maybe that could be it too. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, go on, have a look. I'll tell you, while you're doing that, and while we're talking about What If, and now after what Tom said about what his favorite MCU movie was, what did you feel about the What If episode 2 weeks ago, the Doctor Strange episode?
Oh, that's definitely my favorite one, I think. I loved it. It had it was just so magical, wasn't it? It was it had so many. It was really kind of sad, wasn't it? It was really powerfully done with drama and color and magic and everything. I loved it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I love how you said it was sad. It was he went on such a journey, didn't he?
Yeah.
Stephen went on such a journey. He went on this kind of, he's this arrogant person, and then he went on he's sort of fallen in love with Christine, and he's watched her die 1 billion times, and he's then sort of fallen into this kind of depression, and then he's kind of found hope again. And it was kind of very sort of, he was very up and down. It was almost like it was like a half hour of watching somebody have this kind of bipolar life where they're good and then they're bad and then they're happy and then they're sad and then they're in love and then they're this. It was very sort of, it was everywhere, wasn't it? And obviously the ending was very tragic. Watching him kind of sort of live out however many years he's got to live out in that little mirror dimension bubble with his disintegrated love.
Yeah, it was awful, really.
I think it was so interesting too how he has all the power in the universe at this point. He's absorbed so many beings and he can see the Watcher, and then all of a sudden he still can't change any of it.
Yeah,
it's still doomed,
and here.
Yeah.
So that's
so dark. From the beginning, it's quite kind of real and raw in this really grounded world. And then he goes on the journey, and then obviously that ending is such a contrast from the beginning. But when he keeps trying to save her, it's so sad. It's keeps going back and going, and it's he can't save her. It's so. I would love to see it in live action. That'd be so cool.
I think a lot of this with like we just said, it's almost like, oh damn it! I didn't want to really see. I'm glad I've seen it, but I really would have loved to have seen that as people. It just, I don't know. I think the emotions probably could have come across a bit better. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind the animation, but it's not the most expressive animation, is it? I mean, you can see some computer generated imagery, which is very detailed, but this isn't the most detailed, and it's still good. But I think a real person can just convey those emotions so much better.
So
Jaren, who'd you get?
Yeah, the actor is Mick Wingert, who has also voiced Tony Stark before in animated things. So he has done Tony Stark in Iron Man in Marvel Superhero Adventures Frost Knight, Lego Marvel Superheroes Black Panther Trouble in Wakanda. He's also done Marvel Future Avengers, where he's done Tony Stark, Iron Man, the Inventor, MODOK, and Merlin. He's also done Earth's Mightiest Heroes, but he was a Scuttlebutt AI in that one. And then he's also played Tony Stark, Iron Man in Lego Superheroes Avengers Assembled in that one. And then he's also been Tony Stark, Iron Man in Avengers Assemble, along with Dr. Faustus. He's also been Spider-Man cartoon as Tony Stark, Iron Man, and then also Venomized Iron Man. And then he's done some video games as well. But I didn't realize this too. Also, he's been voices in one of my favorite cartoons, also in Voltron: Legendary Defender as well. So
Hey, there you go. So I guess that's probably where I got my wires crossed then.
yeah,
Where I clearly I heard his voice before, which is why maybe I thought it was. You should have looked up the other guy's name as well, Adrian.
oh yeah. I'll look it up. Go on. I'll look it up.
I'm sure it's Adrian. So just going back to the what if episode with Killmonger. Now that we digressed with Doctor Strange, the ending of that was really interesting because the ending of that you had Shuri and Pepper going, hold on, so Shuri's clever. She's switched on. And she was sort of saying, hold on, this isn't right. And Pepper kind of clearly, she didn't trust him from the beginning, did she? Like Killmonger, I mean. So is that kind of, obviously we know that T'Challa's been downed in that sort of universe. So again, is that a little, we've been talking about breadcrumbs all evening today. So is that another little breadcrumb towards,
Wakanda forever?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But we do see, and real quick though, before I do my thought, Adrian Pasdar, who played General Talbot in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Talbot, there you go.
And he also does Tony Stark Iron Man on Avengers Assemble. But back to you, we were saying though, they could be throwing breadcrumbs, for Wakanda forever. There was that set photo leak that said, about T'Challa's passing, in one of the film sets, which I don't know is a flashback during the snap or present times. But back to your point, though, there is in the trailer when they do Guardians of the Multiverse, there is T'Challa Star-Lord along with someone's being Black Panther in that as well, which we don't know who's in the Black Panther costume for the 9th episode when they all come together. So interesting to see that.
Cool. Do we know what Wednesday's one is yet?
Probably Party Thor, or it's going to be Party Thor because we haven't seen that one yet, or it's going to be. We should probably know here soon with the poster.
Yeah, they usually come out on a Tuesday, don't they?
Where is my screenshot? It's going to be Party Thor or Tony Stark and Sakaar are the only two left before the finale, right?
Right. Okay.
Because that was episode 6, right?
So
that was episode 6. Last week was episode 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have two more before the Ultron, Vision, Infinity Stones, and Guardians of the Multiverse. So we're going to see Tony Stark again, or we're going to see Party Thor.
Do we think that last episode is going to be longer than 30 minutes, or do we hope that last episode is going to be longer than 30 minutes?
I hope so.
I don't see it. I don't see it being a normal episode with everything they have to wrap up and then bringing all the Guardians of the Multiverse in. But sorry, you were about to say something, Tom, and I interrupted you before.
No, I think I was just surprised it was almost finishing. Actually, I think I kind of just wait every week to see what the next one's going to be. I just was kind of thought I knew it finished it. I thought it was like the end of October or something, but
yeah. 3 more, and we're done for 2 weeks. No.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and then we've got Eternals.
No,
what if they?
Well, 2 weeks we have Venom.
Yeah, that's true. And with
and
all the
rumors,
with all the rumors, we don't know what's going to go on there. It might be important to go and see if you're an MCU fan. Okay, well, look, I mean, we've had a good chat there, hour and 15. Has anybody got anything else pressing that they want to bring up? I know Alex has got another bobblehead.
Yeah, I've got quite a few on the way. So, yeah.
Oh, don't! I tell you what, though. How about the Steve Rogers on the bench?
Yeah, I'm trying to hunt that one down. I haven't seen it for pre-order anywhere.
I don't think it's out until next year.
I think they said probably end of the year, early next year for that one.
But normally they let you I have Funkos I've pre-ordered 7 months in advance before they've come out, and I haven't even seen anything about that anywhere. So I've seen the news articles and stuff, but I think it's an Amazon exclusive if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong on that.
I still find it funny when I post that to the group and he's like, you come out of Funko retirement, and I posted that GIF. No, I don't think I will.
You nailed that one, mate. I love that response. Yeah, so I think we can call that a wrap then, guys, don't you? I think we've had a great chat. Tom, it's been fantastic having you on. Thank you for sharing your sort of story with us and what you do. Where can our listeners find you and what you do and your stuff? What are you on? What social media platforms do you exist in?
So I'm just stepping through film on Instagram and Facebook. And that's pretty much it, really. Tom Duke, that's me. But yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, I've loved listening and everything. It's been awesome. And
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nice. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
been really great having you on, mate. And yeah, it's been a pleasure finding out more about what you do and obviously finding out those little tidbits about the MCU and these locations and things like that. It's always great to expand our sort of nerd knowledge. So, no, it's been brilliant. Jarian, Alex, as always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again, Tom. And yeah, thanks for listening, guys. See you again.